Good?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
My name's Cam Anderson. I'm the owner of Blacktail Studio, and it's taken me a long time to admit this, but my job title is woodworking YouTuber. I live just outside of Portland in a suburb called Tigard. It's just kind of a quiet area. My wife grew up in this area. We were dating long distance when I lived in Texas, and eventually I knew I wasn't going to stay in Texas, so I moved back up to the Portland area to live and eventually get married to her, and here we are still. I didn't grow up a woodworker. I always liked tinkering with things. I was always like the friend that would build us like an aquarium stand out of 2x4s, but it was just really, really bad woodworking. My dad wasn't really a woodworker, but he's handy. Like he, essentially built the house that he lives in now, and he can, fix most things like a lot of dads. And so he taught me that if you want to learn how, you can teach yourself. And so that's really how it started in 2016. I was working as a life flight pilot, and the great thing about life flight pilots is every 7 days we get 7 days off. And so I needed a hobby, and we had a big garage at my old house, so I started woodworking, and I was just really bad. And I just kept trying at it and got a little bit better, and worked a little bit harder, started posting some of that to social media, and eventually it became my full-time job. Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say that I never felt like it was my calling to be a helicopter pilot. When I stopped, I was doing the HEMS, the air ambulance, life flight helicopter pilots. So I was starting to build things part-time, and some of them weren't terrible. And my wife told me, I think this was in 2016, that I should open or start an Instagram page. And I didn't have Instagram, I didn't know how to do Instagram, and so I did. And I posted, 10 pictures, and I had like 3 followers, and they were like the robot ones, like they weren't even real ones. And we were on vacation, and she's like, "How's Instagram going?" I was like, "Oh, it's stupid." And she's like, "Let me see your phone." So she takes my phone. We're just messing around for an hour, and she hands it back to me, and I had like 6 followers. And I was like, "What did you do?" And she showed me what a hashtag was. And I was like, okay, so then I was the hashtag king. I'm like, all right, this is how you let other people know how to find you. I, at that point, literally thought you had to physically know someone and be like, "Will you follow me on Instagram, please?" And so once I found out about hashtags, I started learning about it, and fairly quickly I was pretty good at Instagram, and that made me realize this could be something, this social media. And eventually I was like, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. My wife says, "What?" And I go, "I don't know." And I was like, and she goes, "Good, I think you should." And so I did, and that was probably the best thing I ever did. Oh, my strategy for YouTube going into it was non-existent. It's that wish I knew now back then. It was literally just throw as much stuff at the wall as you can. My first YouTube video was 10 YouTube videos because I didn't know how to edit clips together. So I uploaded 10 one-minute things of like a finish review, and people would say like, "Why isn't this one video?" And I was like, "I don't know how to do that." So it was just create really bad content and put it up there. And really to this day though, it's always been about getting a little bit better, and that's what it was just start really bad and get a little bit better, and it seemed to work out okay for me.
Don't mind that.
YouTube's going well. YouTube's going well. My main channel is 2.4 million subscribers. In December or January, I started secondary channels kind of for shorts, and also just to put some other projects on there. Those are at, I think, 150,000 and 550,000 for those two. So YouTube's going well. I have one full-time employee, that's Scott, who's been in more and more of my videos lately, and he's been a really good addition. It's nice to not have to like talk to nobody on the camera. If I want to engage with someone in a video, Scott's always there. And I have one pseudo employee, Adam, and he's been a great addition because he's kind of like my marketing guy. He does basically so much behind the scenes for me, and he only gets paid based on how much revenue he generates. So I don't have to worry about anything. And I pay him significantly more than I probably would a full-time employee, but he's absolutely worth it. I really got my start building epoxy tables, and I'm very well aware that I owe almost everything or all my success to epoxy tables, but I've realized epoxy tables aren't going to be cool forever. And so over the last 2 years probably, I've been trying to not phase them out, but not use them as such a crutch, because the worst part is they still get views. And so I could still be making an epoxy table video every couple weeks and then probably do okay. But anymore, I've been trying more experimental woodworking. I did some tool restoration. There's a saw up on my wall that I did a video on and it performed well. I did had a local guy here that I'm friends with who does high-speed photography. He came and shot woodworking accidents in slow motion, which was a total departure for me. And that was, I think, my best video over the last 18 months or so. So I've been trying to expand what I can do, but it's still all based around woodworking and building stuff. I would say the purpose behind my channel as a whole is to entertain, and I try to accomplish that a few different ways. One of that is teaching, is if someone wants to learn how to do something, I try to show someone how I did it. And it might not be the best way, and I'm always hesitant to say that I'm a woodworking instructor because I was never trained as a woodworker, and I don't want to tell people how to do things the wrong way. But if somebody can learn something from my content, all the better. If someone wants to start woodworking or start creating content, my personal belief is you just have to start doing it. And I have a friend that we kind of go back and forth on this because he has a really structured approach to everything. And my advice to everybody is just start and be bad, and know that you're going to be bad. People think, oh, I have to get to this skill set, or I have to have this camera, or I have to have this editing abilities. And no, for me, it's just start and be bad. And for woodworking, you should probably take some sort of safety course and actually know how to operate a tool. But I say just start. If you don't get haters, you are not doing it right. That's how I know, or that's kind of my barometer for if a video is doing well. Because if you're scrolling through your comments and you see the negative ones, you go, oh, let me check this. A video must be getting more views because it's getting outside your normal audience. And no, anybody that follows me on Instagram knows that haters are the best part of my channel. I just have fun with them and try to reply to their comments in a way that diffuses them and doesn't really acknowledge whatever their question or anger is, because they're not even angry about what you did. They're angry about something else in life. And I feel like anybody that does have a problem with those comments just needs to realize they're not mad at you or they're not angry at you. They're angry about something in their life. And it's kind of makes you feel better when you realize that that person's actually really sad. So what do I miss about being a smaller channel? I was asked this recently and I didn't have an answer. Originally I was like, I don't know, nothing. Like, it's great being a bigger channel. You get occasionally free tools and you get to do what you love every day. But I thought about it, and the one thing I miss is being able to experiment and be really bad again, because everybody expects these, hopefully big, cool build videos, and I'm too scared now to try something small or kind of, just different. But when my channel was small, you could put anything up you wanted and nobody cares, and it might have a big success. I did a video on how to calculate epoxy volume, which is the most boring topic I could imagine, and I would never make that video now, and it got like 5 million views. But when you're new and small, you don't know any better, so you just make the video and whatever happens, happens. So I do kind of miss that freedom to just make whatever video I wanted. I've done sponsorships in the past, and for the most part, it's kind of like having a boss, which, being self-employed now, I don't like having a boss. And I started thinking of, I would have a company that they're always negotiating with you, which is fine, but they're always telling you you're not worth this, you're only worth this. And finally, I started to think, if it's worth X amount of dollars for them to have me push their product or their company, why wouldn't it be worth it to me to just bet on myself and have my own products? And so over a little over a year now, I've been really pushing creating my own products. I have some physical ones. I have a really cool Damascus marking knife, and the big one is the N3 Nano, a nano finish for basically any wood product, and that's gone tremendously well so far, and I love betting on myself. My favorite project I've done, well, if you look at my YouTube channel right now, the video I released yesterday says my best project, and that's actually this one right behind me. It was really, really difficult. It was way out of my comfort zone, and it turned out really good. So right now, that's probably my favorite project. what interests me about woodworking was probably that I thought I could do it. I don't think I thought I was good enough to work with metal or do sculptures. I'm not artistic in the sense that I can't draw a picture and I can't carve something, you know, that looks like a shape. I was always really envious of the guys that could make a sculpture. Like those are like the artists to me. And building a flat table just seemed like something I could do. So I started doing it. I've always loved building stuff, you know, from the time I remember I got a socket set when I was in high school and I had a $400 Dodge pickup. I just couldn't have been more excited because now I had something to work on. And I always like projects. And so it doesn't have to be wood, but wood is what I've really gravitated towards. I like the look of it, I like the feel of it, I like that I can come out to my shop and do a little bit at a time. I just love projects in general. The sign outside literally just says Mexican restaurant. I think it's called Bazalan though. This is the best carne asada I've ever had, and I'd love to say it's some like swanky, you know, fancy restaurant, but it's just a little strip mall one, and it's amazing. This site is also like 5 minutes from my house. Obviously, I get a lot of support from my wife. She's from a self-employed entrepreneurial family, so she, I think, really likes that I've gone down this path because I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. And the main support comes from like all the viewers. Like I'm just blown away that I have fans. Like, that just seems like the weirdest thing to me, that people know who I am. If I go out somewhere and occasionally someone will recognize me, it's mind-blowing. So I'm just constantly shocked that I get so much support from just all the random people out there.
Return. All the way. Stay. Go. Jump. Otis. Oklahoma. Okay.
What's the future of Blacktail Studio? That's a good question. I know for sure it's all around YouTube and creating content. Like I know I have these separate channels, but everything comes down to just creating a really cool build video for the most part. I might try some different types of videos. Well, I'm not closed yet. We're in the process of hopefully closing. Hopefully the sale goes through for the sake of this video. But buying 14 acres of commercial / industrial land / ag land actually to move all my operation over there. And I think that's gonna be really fun because I'll have such a bigger space to do bigger projects, more projects, things like that.
Move-in ready. So I learned this is a black walnut tree and this is an English walnut tree, which they graft them together, but I've never seen such a big one that was both.
I'm excited about the future of Blacktail. I think having my own products is a hedge against obscurity. You know, maybe my videos aren't popular in 6 months or whatever it is, but I can hopefully still make a living based on the businesses that I built. But right now the views have been good, the growth has been good. I'm very optimistic.
Not terrible. You want to see the Silence of the Lambs well?
Not sure this is OSHA approved or not, but yeah, there's water down there. Kind of terrifying.
So what do you think? 5,000 square feet, 20-foot ceilings, no wiring, no floor, no insulation. But the way I see it, that means I get a brand new building when it's all said and done, instead of trying to renovate something that's got 50-year-old plumbing in it. So this is the new headquarters of Blacktail Studio. This is going to be everything. Room for dogs. I've thought about doing the classes potentially here, or at least doing some more of the online classes. I did my epoxy workshop over a year ago, and that's probably the majority of my income now. We have the YouTube course, like the How to Do YouTube course coming up, and yeah, I would love to do more courses, probably with more makers, get them involved. And now I got the space to do it. So apparently this was an illegal marijuana grow for I don't know how long, was last used as. So I got some little bit of history there, storied farm use of being a drug lab. But surprisingly, I haven't found a lot of like needles and that type of stuff. So it's kind of one of those higher end drug labs.
What motivates me to get in the shop? Anymore, it's my job. You know, people think that I must love every single day of what I do, and for the most part I do, but every now and again it's a day of work. You know, this cabinet, carving it out for days and days and really weeks on end, it wasn't that fun, but you know, also wasn't that fun having a real job and having to like do what your boss says and drive across the state and do other things. So I think people need to remember that self-employment is still a job, and not every day is going to be, you know, walking on a cloud. Yeah, there's definitely a sense of fulfillment with that, because you actually get compensated for when you work hard. And I love the fact that, you know, you kind of eat what you kill, and it's fun to be rewarded. Whereas if you work for someone else, you work really hard and that company does better and you're like, good for them. But for me, you see a direct payout or direct success related to how hard you work. Yeah, there's definitely a sense of, yeah, there's definitely a sense of, I can't even say the fucking word.